like you. Be strong to hold the powers of the sun. To dream, believe in strength. Now I'm the only one. Only one. I was an ordinary boy until I broke the rules my life destroyed.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to my channel. My name's 12 Gauge. Hope you guys are doing good. Sorry I'm running a little bit late. Was spending some quality time with the fam. You know how that goes. Time slipped away from me. I did have this scheduled for 8:30. So I decided to move it up a little bit. I hope you guys are doing awesome on this Friday night. Let me say hello to Sue Ann, Angela, Rondi. Welcome. And those of you that are here for the first time, I hope that you enjoy the content. Please take a look around if you haven't already. I'm your host. My name is 12 Gauge. Thank you so much for being here. Before I begin the presentation tonight, I want to let you guys know that the things that I'm going to be reading and showing you guys are things from the very beginning. I'm talking about days after the murders up until Brian was arrested. I in no way am showing these things to start controversy or to even say that I'm choosing a side, whether innocence or guilt. Okay, so I don't want you guys to be talking in the chat about guilt or innocence, because that's not what this is about. This is about seeing exactly how social media responded to the murders. Now I'm going to start by the way that I have these set up, okay? So let me go ahead and set this up for you. Like I said, this is not meant to show innocence or guilt, and it's also not meant to be like you're going to say, oh, that's been debunked. That's been debunked. That's not what this is for either. This is just to show the level of interest right off the bat. Okay. As you can see, this first one, this one is supposedly taken from an individual's phone. And I know that there's been speculation about this blonde-haired girl and whether it was, a film that was shown or whatever. But it was interesting when I saw this at the very beginning, when I was researching this case at the very beginning. Because people were talking about, did the killer film the murders? And as you can see at the top, let me get rid of this. As you can see at the top, good Lord, it says Moscow, November 13th, 3:10 in the morning. So there was a big deal about this, whether he filmed the murders. And people were all over it. And that was the first screenshot. Okay, so let me move back a little bit. And here was the other screenshot. I know you can't see this, but it says this is a screen, and it says Moscow 3 o'clock. So this was a lot of 4chan stuff. Let me take these off because I just use them to dry mostly. So let me. It says, okay, in relation to OP's pick, last night a guy posted a bunch of weird messages which look like shitloads. Shit posts were largely ignored. Well, let me put these back on because it's kind of blurry. What the hell, man? Were largely ignored. After a while, the same person posted coordinates which led to a nearby location to the crime scene. Today, the user posted the same schizo message, which I said made no sense. He insulted me and said I was illiterate. In the next thread, the same user posted pic related with the file name illiterate.jpg. Last thread, the same user presented another image filled step one. This is the picture OP posted. Both of these have time, date, locations linked to the crime. It's possibly just someone LARPing, but still very bizarre. So, yes, this was labeled step one. I don't know if you remember seeing this. I don't know if y'all remember seeing this at the very beginning. Y'all let me know if you remember seeing this or not. Hey, Allie, how you doing? Angel, how you doing? So that's that one. It was labeled step one. Okay, the second one was actually step two. And this is a post made by Ethan's brother, which was verified based on this post. It says they don't and won't. The families want a conviction, not an arrest. The police and FBI are not here to please curious minds. They're building a case to make sure whoever did this is convicted and the families get some sort of closure, if at all possible. I don't think I ever will. I so badly wish I could just come on here and blurt out everything I know that the public wants to hear. But because I respect my family and Ethan, I would hold on to it until the time is right. So that supposedly was from Hunter, Ethan's brother. Let's go to the next one. And this is the Act 2, which was at 3:10 in the morning. And this like got a lot of speculation. There was a lot of people that were saying this was a scene from the Vampire Diaries or something like that. But then there was also some people that were saying, well, this looks like Kaylee, either looking through the doorway or, that's the bathroom area or things like that. Like I said, I'm not showing these to cause what the word? Conflict. I don't want any conflict. If you've heard they've been debunked, that's great. I know they probably have, but I thought, I thought these were really interesting at the very beginning. This one says, some, and excuse the lingo, okay? Some schizo anon posted 2 pics like this on earlier threads today. It looks like a girl in the second story bathroom at 3:10 a.m. the night of the killings, right around when the murders happened in the same location. The killer might have been in these threads. So there it is again. And at the top you can see, what was posted on the picture. It's interesting, right? So let's go to the next one. And I know y'all have seen these. Um, these are this was basically the theory that a lot of people jumped on. Um, I didn't download all these, so they're actually on my Gmail account, and that's why it goes with open with. I don't really want to download them because I already have them. It starts out by saying schizo frat. How I say words. Cunts did this. Mad skills with lacrosse and knife and wrestling. He posted no challenge. They already gave their alibi. DNA not in CODIS. They laughing now. Bruh, you can see the King Road house from, I would say, D's Sigma Chi room. Want that third floor light turned off, they did it. 19-minute total, walk included. Talked about this stuff at Bishop Kelly and Sigma Chi. Blank and E got in a fight that night. X allegedly brewing since, talking shit. L had problems with Mads also. This shit been brewing since Fall Rush last year. Cunts went quiet on the SM social media for 2 weeks before and after the deed. Blank's mom, a paralegal, so he knows not to say anything. Blank cleared his social media. Had to take a slam. Sigma Chi 22 saw EXL and the other person at the party. Blank and E have issues back to rushing. E talked shit about Blank taking roids and having his balls shrivel. L pissed as he wanted X. For dumbass youngins like E, tutors are assigned. Blank blew it with E. E a second year fresher. Blank also self-conscious about his spick blood and talked empty shit. Blank and Blank talked about this shit in general for a while. Talked about leaving their cell phones behind and on YouTube autoplay. No pings, no guns. Too loud. Area dead early Sunday mornings. Blank even calls shit media. Media saying Kaylee was the target. That crap is false. Kaylee had bad luck. Targets were Ethan, X, and Mads. Mad talked shit about Loach. Never acknowledged Blank. Mad's right about that one. He has a C word. Well-known fact, Dirty South and E hated each other. Blank got a bid because of our house GPA sucked, and the NC was on our asses. Blank's a schizo. Dirty South and E could not be more opposite. Mad did talk shit. Dirty also pissed she with Rogaine. Had to change. No plug. Mad also the target. Kaylee not a target at all. Bad luck. Well-known fact. High possibility some brothers are aware. Rogaine has ample opportunities and will play grieving boyfriend. Actually talked about this shit in detail in the past. Wear electrician's gloves, put on baggy clothes after and walk away. By the way, Dad works for a professional cleaning company. That shit was disposed of in Garden City over the Thanksgiving holiday. So, like I said, y'all have already seen this, and whether you believe the frats did it, whether you believe they had a hand in it, that's neither here nor there. That's up to y'all to make up your own mind. I'm not on here to convince you one way or the other. This was also around the same time. It says, I got wrapped into this case twice, and it's crazy. First, the picture of me got leaked somehow, and out of nowhere, this guy gets arrested, and I realized he was one of my previous buyers. I've been selling on Marketplace for years. This is a business account. But I hope next time something happens like this, people stop throwing others under the bus. It's messed up my social life when my friend saw it. See, I never saw this whole thing. I just saw the mask and the hoodie. Did any of y'all see that whole thing, that whole article there type thing? See, I've never seen the whole thing. I've just seen the guy in the mask. It says, I realized he was one of my previous buyers. This person said, I sold him a knife in October. That's crazy. This guy was pretty popular there for a while. 1223, it says, secondary source tells me that Brian Koberger may have recorded some of all of his 4-part murderous assault on some kind of body camera, and that he's entrusted the memory card to this so far unnamed accessory. Working to verify this. If validated, this is damning evidence. So, in the very beginning, for some, I guess I quit watching it or just wasn't aware during this time. I didn't know that that there was speculation that he recorded this crime. Did y'all know that? I had no clue about that. This says it's legit. You can see my Facebook Marketplace account I've been selling for years. He drove from Pennsylvania to get this knife for $350. It's rare and discontinued knife meant for cutting skin. From what I remember, dude with knives, he was with another guy who sat in the car, flipped open the knife. I told him that you can use a zip tie as an Emerson wave for it. He paid me the money and drove off. This was in October. I remember this because people were, yeah, I never saw the link though. I never saw that link. So what if that was real? What if that was real? He really did record it. Kind of like the guy from last night, the TikTok guy that killed his wife and the lover. What if he was so enthralled about recording the crime that he recorded it? That's interesting. I never knew about that. But this guy was talking about selling a knife to somebody for $350, and there was another guy in the car, and this was in October when it was sold. There's this guy again. It says Koberger defense strategy is to publicly talk about exoneration for privately negotiate for a plea deal with the Idaho prosecutor, all while trying to disappear the body cam video footage shot during and just after the student murders at the blood flowed in rivulets. 12:13 a.m. 13:23. So this was right after the arrest. Did y'all know about all this? I mean, I was looking at this today and I was like, I don't remember this. It sounds pretty cool though. I mean, if it's true, I'm not saying it's true or false, I'm just like, if it's true, how come I didn't remember this part? And let's get to the 4chan post here. I guess this is as big as I can get this one. This is December 2022. Yeah, this is that one. This is the one that talked about hanging their parts from a ceiling fan and shoved my knife up Kaylee's. I'm hiding in the woods in shithole Pennsylvania. Good luck catching me. And then underneath, somebody had posted, David is the killer. So did somebody post this to kind of reference somebody looking at this guy? Thank you. I didn't know that. Doc. There is an FBI agent by the name of Jodine Weber who brought up the recording on a body cam. Thank you so much. I didn't remember hearing that. There were so many things flying around in the beginning, you didn't know what was true and what wasn't. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I remember this one. This one was very graphic. It was right before he was arrested. That's what made it so creepy. You know what I mean? It's like you read this and then he was arrested like within a couple weeks. It's weird. Let's get to the next one. This one says, account full of shit. I'll get canceled for in 20 years. I think this is one of the David's Twitter accounts. I think that's what this one was. It says, the grieving process is unique to everyone that goes through it, especially in a situation that has no answers or closure. Something that makes this process more difficult is being accused of committing the unanswered act that you're grieving from. Please respect the people going through this process by not engaging in unverified discourse generated by unverified information. Yeah, this was from one of the Davids. This was his Twitter account. And this is where the OnlyFans stuff started. Let me see what Allie had to say. In your opinion, do you think Brian had anything to do with the dog Buddy being killed? And what is your opinion about the body situation taking Brian out of the story? I don't I don't have enough factual information to really believe that Brian did the Buddy situation. During that time, there was a lot of, I think there were coyotes being killed and skinned and thrown, you know, on the frats and sorority steps. So I don't know if that was just a college kid like changing his MO. It might have been a sadistic person just going from a coyote to a dog. I don't know. I mean, and the second part, you said, what is your opinion about the body situation taking Brian out of the story? I don't know what you mean by that. Can you elaborate a little more? It says, looks like the pic above was possibly an OnlyFans thought and liked the party. Her Twitter is private and her IG goes to OnlyFans. Some of her Twitter peeps like BBC and Booger Sugar. This was false, but I can see where a post like this would instantly start moving people in a direction instantly to say, well, she had an OnlyFans. You know what I mean? And I could see where a post like this would instantly start that stuff. Here's another one. It says, this case is so messed up, the cops are literally, this one blew my mind when I read it, okay? It says, because I'd never heard this before. This case is so messed up, the cops are literally releasing statements today that contradict their earlier statement. So today they said they don't know who called 911 and the bodies were all found in the bed. But a few days ago, they said that one of the girls made it outside and bled to death on the front yard. Then a neighbor was walking the dog the next morning and found the body, but thought it was just an unconscious partier. So they called 911, and that's why it was for somebody unconscious. So why are we today getting a complete different story that the bodies were all in the bed and they didn't know who called 911? If this is true, I have never heard this. I have never heard this. Have y'all heard this? Showalter threw the dead coyotes. Yes. Yes. I remember hearing that. Supposedly it was Showalter that left the carcasses on doorsteps. He got caught, and that's, yeah. I remember hearing that as well. Oh no, the Chan, this live needs a warning label. Great topic. I'm asking you guys, have y'all heard this? Did y'all ever hear about this? I had never heard that the body made it, that one of the person made it outside. One of the girls made it outside and bled to death. And a person walking their dog thought it was an unconscious partier and called 911. I don't know. That's an interest. I saw this one. I was like, man, that sounds interesting right there. I've never heard that before. Here's another one. It says their address is 1122. 11 plus 22 equals 33. One of the survivors posted 2 pictures on a Vesco at 3:33 a.m. Was stated that the 4 victims died between 3 and 4. See, I don't know what that means. I'm not into numbers like that. If y'all know what that means, let me know. You know, that's interesting though, because 3 and 4 was the original narrative. This one says, I like this one. It made me laugh. This in no way is disrespectful, guys. It says, who killed them? It says, was an assault Sasquatch. Ban them now. I thought that was hilarious. I mean, I wasn't, sometimes you just need a little humor to deflect some of the seriousness of all the tragicness that surrounds this case. Let me see what y'all are saying. Don't think I've ever heard of this. Me either. That's why it was so interesting to me. Here's another one. It says Kaylee made 6 outgoing calls to Jack between 2:30 and 2:45. Then Maddie made 3 outgoing calls to Jack between 2:45 and 2:52. Then Kaylee called Jack one last time at 2:52. The murders occurred between 3 and 4 because that's what we were told at the very beginning. Maybe Jack lost his phone while stabbing them and then used their phone to call his to try and locate it. And they have the time of death an hour advanced because, like all the girls, they kept the thermostat up high, which, if Jack was smart, he turned down on his way out. It is a strange case and there's not much info, but no forced entry sure sounds like they knew the attacker, or at least they forgot to lock their doors. It was the hallmarks of Ted Bundy. So this one was posted on Friday, November 19th, 2022. Let's see what Angela's saying. Here's the deal with unconscious person. Dispatch said that's what they say when. Yeah, I remember that too. Thank you. Thank you so much for reminding me of that. Yes, you're right. Yeah, I remember hearing that. Thank you, Angela. Let's go to the next one. This was a post that Jake supposedly quoted to a newspaper or something. It says, boyfriend of unfortunate has had satellite turned upside down. The fellow, one of the murdered University of Idaho students, had his satellite turned upside down by her brutal slaying, which came considerable days earlier. The young mates planned a bask to Thanksgiving vacation together. And that's what was circulating during that time, was they were going to spend Thanksgiving together, and then she was murdered. I tell you, just tragic all the way around. And this one says, based on what I heard or what I've read, I think the killer parked in a tree area to the south of the apartment and left tracks. November 20th, 2022. So this is early on, before any of this stuff. So are these people locals? How do they know this? That's what's so interesting. Like they say, right after the crime, people are talking. And most of the stuff you read, some of it could have some valuable evidentiary information. Maybe this one does, because we've seen a boot track. So it says, based on what I've read, I think the killer parked in the tree area to the south of the apartment and left tracks. Anonymous, you might be right. And here's that blank screen that I was showing you that said, that I showed at the very beginning. Yeah, y'all please hit the like button. Let me know y'all were here. Let me know y'all were here. Even if you don't like it, hit the dislike button. Hit one of them. If you're watching on a TV, hopefully you remember to do it on your phone later on. This says Moscow, November 13th, 309. So this was a blank screen. This one plus the girl looking through the doorway were 1 and 2. So that's the blank screen that the person showed. Who is texting me? Wow. I don't know if y'all remember this, but there was an individual in the chats all around that went by the Moscow Slayer. This individual was obviously following, or was, following. I don't know if they were following or they were going to follow. I don't know why they brought this up. But Kaylee, Maddie, Xana. So this individual's social media page had been taken down. See, there's a K-bar knife with a sheath. There was a lot of interesting, weird stuff on there. A black cat. They were posting in 4chan and they were posting all over the social media sites. Moscow Slayer. There's very little to find now about that person. And this is a photo of the backyard that was on the owner's Facebook page. As you can tell, it's an older photo because the newer photo of the house had pristine concrete, patio area back here. They had a newer couch. I don't remember seeing anything like this, but look at all these beer cans. I mean, this must have been an older photo, but this was I think during this time, the owner was taking these photos to show the debauchery that was going on at 1122. And I think they were upset about it. That was the narrative. Here's another one. It says, the stalker is in the house already. He's waiting for them to fall asleep. She calls her ex-boyfriend while he listens in a closet. Her friends all call him too. The stalker stabs them in a rage. He doesn't risk going downstairs and doesn't think the others heard anything. Sunday, November 20th, 2022. That was a big deal too. There was a lot of individuals talking about the person could have been in the house already. Like, there was a lot of assumption about this individual being in the house already. This was Sunday, November 20th, 2022. No, it had 2 bedrooms and one was empty because that roommate had moved out. How do these people know this? Hey, Roy, thank you for popping in here. Roy or Ray? Ray. Hey, Ray, thank you. Man. So how did these people know this? Some people stream their murders on social media, so it wouldn't surprise me if this is real. So do you see where you read this and you start to believe this, and the next thing you do is start broadcasting this, and people start doing what? They start believing this. But now we know it didn't happen. It didn't happen in the house, so that couldn't have been true. Was Jack D frat boy now or in the past? We don't know it didn't happen in the house. I'm pretty sure it happened in the bedrooms. Yeah, that was a typo, but you already answered it. If you Took Brian out of the situation with Buddy. You already answered. Okay, good deal. In the past, yeah, you're right. But it blows my mind that here is 7 days after the murders, people are talking like this. Like, and this was a picture that was posted about the floorboards in the house. And supposedly all these floorboards were like this in the house. That's how shoddy that it was built. See, you can see the wooden stuff. You can see the cracks. So, it's interesting to see all this. This one says, but what strikes me is the method. He definitely has a type. College age white girls. They all look kind of similar, actually. This suggests he may be choosing victims based on sexual attraction. But he did not rape them, he only stabbed them. But in the news, it described the knife as being some kind of long, big, military style Rambo knife. That says a lot about the killer's psychology. It leads me to believe he has a form of picarism and is somehow getting gratification from the act of stabbing. Yeah, I think we've talked about that in the past as well. Can't we just use the coordinates of the house and search for every cell phone ping between 3 and 4 a.m. hours? The one that doesn't belong to the one of the occupants of the house would be the killer if they had a phone with them. See, some people will think outside the box. And this was right November 20th, 2022. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Too bad we don't work for the police, right? I think part of his MO is keeping potential victims alive. The two survivors are now mentally tortured for the rest of their lives. He inflicts pain and manipulates with his technique. It creates disarray for the cops. It seems like this is a serial killer who is very calm, collected, and aware of what is happening. November 20th, 2022. See, these individuals are being analytical with their posts. They're not really saying anything that doesn't, couldn't make sense, right? I don't know what this one says. I think Dylan was too upset to call, and a neighbor had called, or maybe Hunter, Ethan's friend, Hunter, had called the police. I don't know. This one says sorority frats is where I'd be looking. Some of them were members, correct? Any nasty breakups or confrontations lately, either internally or between the girls and fraternities? Anyone kicked out of their said frats or sororities recently? Controversies? Sorority girls, especially roommates, love to stick their noses or business and gang up on others. They can be pretty nasty, and perhaps they took it too far and got someone kicked out or something. Some of those out of state kids have big money or family legacies behind them. All could be the motive to drive a revenge killing. Suspect definitely knew at least the majority that were killed. They had been there before, probably a party, and knew how to get in and out. Looks like a crime of passion to me. Also explains why the two were left unharmed. But I don't know. I'm just some random on the internet. At least they said that, right? 20th November 2022. Interesting. I go to the university. The whole place had been a ghost town since the murders. November 20th, Sunday 2022. I'm a little behind in the chat. I had to pause the stream, but there's a lot of ones and twos in this case. It's very strange. November 13th was the same day the Amityville horror happened too. I didn't know that. This one's from a local, or at least went to the university. Okay, so I got curious and went to check the news. The killer is definitely someone known by the victims, not random. I would go even as far as saying the killer was present at the party. Sunday, November 20th, 2022. So they're talking about that party the night before. I don't know specifically, but could be a possibility. Here's another one. This reminds me of another case. The East Area rapist or Golden State Killer. He would put on some kind of dog repellent on his body to keep dogs from barking before breaking into homes. And it usually worked. Maybe the police should start with that and start looking at dog repellent sales. Interesting. I've never heard a dog repellent to keep dogs from barking. It could be a woman, seeing how the weapon is a large knife. The 19 stabs shows emotional motivation. Someone who just wants to kill the victim wouldn't go as far as stabbing someone 19 times. That's profound hate. So this individual was talking about 19 stab wounds. Off the top of my head, I don't know which one had 19 stab wounds. I thought one of them had 54, but I could be wrong. I don't remember about the 19. Was that Maddie? You in the chat, can y'all help me out? Recently, a creator went to the book signing of the president of U of I. He stated that immediately he assembled his team and they all went to Greek Row. He said he knew they were involved because of GSK used dog repellent too. He got caught trying to steal a can at one time. Golden State Killer. I didn't know that. That is interesting stuff right there. November 13th, 1974, Amityville. Number two, reports from other students and from things he knew about the frats and sororities. Well, that's interesting. Here's another one. It says, okay, I have my theory, which is based a lot on body language, but hey, I don't have the deets, the pigs, so fuck off. Dylan Mortensen stands out by a mile. Tall, naturally beautiful young woman, seems to be the alpha of the group, very deep, intriguing eyes. If you're the alpha of the group, you tend to be able to control a group also. I think Dylan knows she is a drop dead gorgeous, and her girlfriends have likely told her so. Like girls do, you know. Oh my God, your jawline is perfect. You're so tall. Look how long your legs are. Oh my gosh, I wish I was that tall. Oh my God. To the extent some of the girls may be jealous of her natural beauty. Anyways, some of her VSCO images depict a bad girl, giving the finger and who is the wigger guy she is with in one of the pics. I don't know. Maybe some sort of incident had taken place in the sorority between the girls, which has really gotten under Dylan's skin. It has emerged her so much she has plotted to have these girls murdered. Has her phone been checked? The girl she survived with, Bethany Funk. I believe she has heavily confided in this girl and she needs questioning as soon as possible. Dylan has had one of the Wiggers murder these girls for her. However, that doesn't explain why the stabbings were so passionate. Multiple stab wounds, the killer was emotionally enraged, so I believe the killer was a strong emotional or intimate connection to Dylan or maybe Bethany in some way. Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk are the key to the entire investigation. And this was Sunday, November 20th, 2022. So how would someone know all this? It just blows my mind. Sipping on, welcome. Well, she's a guy, so okay. Did you see the pics that DM posted tonight on her social media they were wearing? Yes, I did. Hers was pink and they were in Ethan's Jeep. Yes, I did. I've been following this case in the very beginning. That's why I know all this stuff that I'm showing right now. Just some of it I'd never heard before. If I did, I forgot about it. You know what I mean? But this is interesting right here. This long post right here on the 20th of November. Either people are very analytical or maybe they've heard some stuff other people didn't hear because I think this was before the gag order. Okay, here's another one. Who gave them a ride home? I'm 90% sure that they encountered the killer earlier in the night, hint the police reviewing footage, and were subsequently drugged. Guy might have offered them a ride back. Regardless, my final theory is that they were killed with fentanyl, not stabbing. Killer just waited a couple of hours, knowing the dose plus alcohol would kill them, and walked in for some stabbing. Why not the other two? Well, doors probably locked versus the victim passing out with doors open. If you've ever had opiates, especially fentanyl, you know how it just knocks you out. November or Sunday, November 20th, 2022. That makes an interesting theory right there. Interesting theory. Paula says vivid imagination, wild imagination, seeking attention. There you go. This one says, have you been keeping up? The three dead girls were living in the same building. The dead guy was one of the girls' boyfriend. The two survivors also live in the building. They are or were sorority sisters. There have been a lot of unanswered questions like why were they calling the ex-boyfriend? Was one of them actually being stalked? Who was the bar patron the two blondes got kicked out of? And does that even tie into the murder, the Uber driver and so on? Well, let me talk about that because I remember that at the very beginning they were talking about there was an individual that was kicked out of the corner club the same night that Maddie and Kaylee and Jack D were at and Jack S were at the corner club. But I screenshotted an article from a news story that debunked that. So, like I said, I don't know if it's true or if it's not. But in the beginning, there was a lot of speculation that that person could have been Mr. Koberger. Gosh, I missed my freaking. Where am I? Okay, here we go. It says if option one is true, the killer isn't from the neighborhood. He did spy on the girls. He did plan it, but he didn't acquire enough information on the housing. Maybe miss that this house has actually 3 floors. I assume if you enter from the back, the second floor appears to be the ground floor to you. Maybe he saw the girls always enter from the back. You know, it's like very plausible. This one says, I think he spent the night before. He's a hunter and got close enough to get fear drunk when they realized he was taking their life. You know, the type that makes the ritual going in clean and coming back dirty? The guy used a knife. It's usually the last thing someone uses unless it's personal or they're sexually charged from penetrating them until they die. It would be silent and dispatching, erasing an order planned for. The amount of blood means he took his time. Can't do it unless they're clipped quietly and quickly and then go back when you realize it's not a skelter run. They definitely came in their pants. Wow. When fantasy met reality. That was his third or fourth time. The amount of loss is too great for the first or second time. the weight of it, choose on your thoughts. It was related to the blood moon eclipse. It was religious and sexual. I don't know if there was a blood moon that night or not. Do y'all know that? There's some creators who have been working on the Linda Lane footage trying to put back. It's been scrubbed. You can actually see a lot what happened and hear it too. Sorry, late, because you're doing a great job facilitating. Thank you. A while because I heard what happened to Ethan. Yeah, I mean, it's cool if you believe in the Linda Lane, but me, I'm not so convinced. It's been messed with so many times. I mean, for myself, I don't have any real um, belief in it. Don't know if it was actually confirmed, but one of the surviving girls said someone passed by the door. November 20th, Sunday, 2022. So how did this person know that? Because nobody knew that until the PCA came out. And the PCA wasn't out in November. You know what I mean? So how would this person know this? This says this one I got because there was a lot of stories early on about Jack's age. Okay. It says important info on Jack and Kaylee's relationship. Jack is 26 years old and Kaylee was 21 when she died. Kaylee's sister says they were dating off and on for 6 years. This means Kaylee and Jack started dating back in 2016 when Jack was almost 21 and Kaylee was 14 or 15. That's pretty big age gap, even for Idaho. Pickerel is Kaylee and Maddie in the summer of 2016. This is what a grown man was dating. Have y'all heard of that? Is that true that Jack was that much older than Kaylee? Let's not get into what you heard about Ethan. It was described on another channel the other night and it was really repulsive. If that's what you're going to type, please don't type that in here. I'd appreciate it. In my opinion, put back what had been scrubbed. I'm inserting something that will give me clicks and view and couldn't possibly be true, but people believe it anyways. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't hear about the age difference. I don't think so. They were in high school together. I don't know. I mean, this has always been something that was interesting to me because a lot of people made a big deal about it. But I don't know if it's been confirmed or not. If it hasn't, if it has, that's cool. I mean, I don't know. I don't have a clue. This one says, guys, I know who the killer is. The key clue is the bedroom candle. Jack isn't the killer. The real killer's name is very cool. Very cool one. I like this one because of the layout. You know what I mean? It was like a very methodical layout. It says everyone here is missing important facts. She called her ex-boyfriend between 26-minute time frame. It takes a phone call about 30 seconds before it hits voicemail. She called her ex-boyfriend 7 times, meaning that she most likely left voicemails or took breaks in calling him. This proves the killer did not use a phone to throw people off in the investigation, or the killings may have not happened yet. Only a woman was able to fight back, allegedly, indicating the killer was either wounded by Chapin or did not possess enough strength to fully kill her like what was done with the others. The killer must have been wounded somehow because he was unable to finish off everyone in the house. However, the fact he was able to escape despite being wounded indicates high possibility for there have been an accomplice. Multiple stabbings were done. Anyone who has done mixed martial arts or been in a street fight understands how difficult it is to fight two people at the same time. let alone kill two people at the same time with a knife. This is incredibly difficult to do unless you have training or one of the people in the house cooperated with the killer to kill everyone else and ended up being betrayed and dying themselves. It is confirmed that the actual killer is someone that everyone at the house knows because the survivors and the 911 callers' names are being protected. The story has changed so much, indicating that the police are closing in on the killer. I believe it is someone related to the Goncalves ex-boyfriend. This was November 20th, 2022. I mean, this person's not speculating. They're just basically stating, what they believe. You know what I mean? One thing I want y'all to understand in this chat, people are free to agree to disagree. We don't argue in here or we don't start arguments, okay? So please keep it classy in here. If you read something you don't really agree with, that's cool. I mean, you don't have to tell the person you don't agree with it. I mean, we know enough about this case that we can look at comments or whatever and we can decide whether we've heard something similar and, we really are free to believe or not believe. Dylan still needs to explain the following. I thought this was interesting too. Why she locked her door? Why did she lock her door? How she slept through 4 murders and a barking dog. Why she called friends over before the police. Why one of the friends made the 911 call from her phone. Why they reported an unconscious person when there was clearly pools of blood and blood most likely dripping from the ceiling. Why she didn't attend the memorial. Why she and Bethany got copycat tattoos of Mad Mads immediately after. Why she hasn't reached out, sent condolences to the victims' families. Mormon ties. Why her family has Waco-style compounds. Her dad's extensive list of failed expired LLCs. Bots on Twitter pushing narratives that benefit Dylan. If she rode with to dispose of the murder weapons in South Fork Palouse River, why she and Bethany went out separately considering it was Kaylee's last night there. How she is associated with Brian Koberger. If she possesses the memory card. Why her father seemingly has 7 active life insurance policies. I wish I knew the answer to any of those questions. I have no clue. Why did she lock her door, though? I've never thought of that. If you thought it was a party goer, last one of the night leaving, why would you lock your door if you weren't? Why were you fearful of the person? Did she hear something? I don't know. Kaylee sent this out or posted it. It says, swipe to watch me and Maddie Mogan grow up together. Happy 21st birthday, Maddie May. I wouldn't have wanted anyone else to be the main character in all my childhood stories. See you at the bar in 14 days, 14 minutes, and 14 seconds. I love you. I didn't write any of these, so don't come after me or, don't say that I'm spreading false stuff because I didn't write any of this. And I'm showing where it came from, unlike me taking credit for it. You know what I'm saying? This says, be budding criminologists. Seek out criminals for research. Want to study what criminals feel when committing a crime. A criminal volunteers to commit the crime so criminologists can study criminals' feelings in real time. Criminal will commit the burglary. Criminologist will drive. Criminologist drives the criminal to the house with rich college kids. Who better to lose a few things? Criminal only armed with a knife. Criminal said knife needed to break lock to get into the house. Seems reasonable. For a criminal, seemed trustworthy. Criminal leaves the car. After a while, criminal finally returns, covered in blood, with a bloody knife. Said there was a last-minute change in plans. This was posted January 2nd, 2023, a day after Brian was arrested. Actually, 2 days. This says bullshit. There would be a million other people they could have pinned it on and have it be totally believable and no one question at all. The David, the Jax, Enan, etc. Why would they pick the rando to take the fall? January 2nd, 2023. He did it. He crossed X and M at the Mad Greek where he would go for vegan food. It probably built up over weeks, months. He did it. Thought he got away with it. He was fascinated with the coverage. And he was such a narcissistic, emotionless psycho that he made a Reddit account to make sure the ex-boyfriend's roommate and frat bros weren't getting credit for it. He never thought he'd get caught. He thought he was too smart. Even as they ID'd his car, he started to realize that he wasn't invincible, but he's so emotionless that he really didn't care. January 2nd, 2023. Oh, and also he recorded it. Either with a body cam, I doubt it, or with a spy camera in the girl's room, which is probable. January 2nd, 2023. So, vegan Barry Manilow did all this by his lonesome? Wow. I will say that the connection between Dylan and her uncle and the feds is something important. January 2nd, 2023. Well, there's two different voices. The newest one is just a blank screen. So this goes back to Monday, January 2nd, 2023. This goes back to those two screenshots that I showed you, the blank one and then the other one. So obviously there's somebody talking on those. I haven't seen them, but I saw the screenshot. That's all I saw. I didn't see the video, you know? This is, I think, about the Idaho slasher. This was written December 8th, 2022. It says, oh, yeah, he's long gone, but he's left clues of where he goes next. Find towns within a 500-mile radius with 40K or less inhabitants, needs communities with little or major crimes in the past 10, 25 years. Find all laundromats in those towns found. Isolate ones that have little or no security systems. Find all Goodwill donation sites within 5 to 10 miles of the laundromats. Get a list of outside transfer of clothes donations from past 30 to 40 days from Goodwill to outside Goodwill stores, store to store transfer of items. They keep very detailed logs. Check or keep an eye on local Home Depots for $15 to $25 purchases of eye bolts and rope, especially paid for in cash. Probably will use a local hardware store though. This event was practiced for the next hit. He'll hit a family of 6 or 8 individuals, probably 4 girls, teenage to college age, or 3 girls and 1 guy, mother, father, and live-in laws. House will most likely sit on a cul-de-sac or at the end of a dead-end road. Will likely have 2 to 10 Airbnb choices within 5-mile radius, all with good vantage points. Family will have a dog. It will be left alone. He'll need to take his time with this one because the poses and installation will be more complicated and won't want to be rushed at all. Family and neighbors won't have analog or digital cam, but some may have a ring. That's okay. House will be accessible, trail near it. He'll use trail cam to get an average amount of foot traffic from it. He'll use the trail as an exit entrance point. Likely will be a 13th date again. Will possible stream the installation result? He needs a live audience and is trying to figure out how to get one. Prepaid Visa card sales with religious 1K to 1200 deposits should be tracked in the 100 or 1,000 mile radius of the last event. Are y'all still here? Have I lost anybody? Welcome, Leslie and Billy. Welcome, Texas. How y'all doing tonight? This one says, what if it turned out that Brian met the killer online through a survey thing and made some deal to bear witness to a murder for research purposes? So he drives to the site and is like, holy fuck, this guy really went through with it. Now he knows the details of the murder, but he had to get out of the area fast because he realized he was fucked. You get what I'm saying, though? Some variation of Dane Cook character from Mr. Brooks. What if he is getting framed by the real murderer? Yeah, this one's kind of, yeah, I don't know why I chose that one, but it's kind of bad. Oh, I know why I chose this one. It says, someone reposted stuff on Insta, wanted to be held briefly and took down. Claimed to be a wine mom friend of the wife of one of the FBI agents who recently joined the case or was associated with the case. Stuff she said. See, I thought when I heard of this, because I did hear a wine mom, why would they describe somebody as a wine mom? Did it start from wine mom to WSU mom? Did it go like that? See, when I first read this, I thought, did this come from WSU mom? This says, like Bundy was stalking them for weeks, specifically Kaylee and Maddie. Believed to have been planning to commit a murder for some time and saw them by happenstance and became obsessed. Kaylee and Maddie were prime targets. Xana and Ethan were secondary. One of Ethan and Xana's put up a fight at least for a little while. Cell pings have him in the same location a shit ton of times in the weeks prior to the murders. One specifically mentioned was a grocery store. He was caught on surveillance casually following them and was wearing gloves, presumably to avoid leaving fingerprints. He left something very significant at the scene, believed to be his face mask. We know that wasn't true. It was a knife sheath. Either Dylan or Bethany didn't say who did come partway up the stairs at some point during the attack and saw that they described as a shadow man. However, whoever it was thought they were hallucinating or seeing things after a night of drinking and subsequently went down into the room, freaked out, and locked the door. Cops have reams of DNA against them, and from an evidence standpoint, he is absolutely effed. They'll probably get more of the Elantra too to match him to the scene. Prosecution has already been discussing a Chris Watts type of deal where he pleads guilty and goes to prison for life without parole in exchange for no death penalty. However, Goncalves' family in particular will push hard for the death, whereas other families might just want it to be over. Probably a LARP, but since we're into that sort of thing here, passing it along anyways. January 2nd, 2023. What do y'all think about that one? What do y'all think about that one? Maybe words have been changed, like, how stories start out a certain way and people embellish it every time they tell it. Instead of just a regular chair, you hear a much more disturbing chair next time or something of that nature. It just gets a lot more violent each time. I thought this was something that I had heard WSU mom Kim had said at the very beginning. And I had read this at the very beginning too, so I was thinking, I wonder if this was her. Because this is a lot of information. And it was before the PCA. I don't remember this one, but this is interesting too. It says this individual went in at 5:20 a.m. and released at 11 p.m. the same day. She said being in jail for nearly 6 hours over New Year's was a miserable experience, but it was made far worse by Koberger's constant ranting. So he was arrested on the 30th, right? When did he come back to? I wonder if she was in Pennsylvania, if that's what she was talking about. I'll have to go back and look at this. New Year's was a miserable experience, but it made it far worse by Koberger's constant ranting. I could see him through the polycarbonate glass window of his jail cell. He was standing upright against and yelling out violent rap lyrics. At one point, he yelled out, F my enemies and foes, a line from Lil Wayne's Multiple Flows. He also sang violent and misogynistic lyrics from Bad Bunny song, she said. At one point, Cipollina said the jailer who was stationed outside Koberger's cell told him to shut up and calm down, to which he replied, Come on in, mother effer. You come in here, let's talk. I wonder if that's true. I wonder if that's true. Wow. I had never heard of that one. Never heard of that one. Let me see if that's the last one. I think it is. Oh, here's some more. This is what I was talking about. Are y'all still here? Are you enjoying the presentation? I hope so. This one says two separate witnesses also recalled seeing the two men at an auto repair shop in Pennsylvania on the 16th of December when the pair stopped off to get the Hyundai Elantra serviced. Okay, this is referring to Brian and his dad when they arrived in Pennsylvania. One individual who did not want to be identified told CNN that they had a friendly conversation with both Mr. Koberger and his father at the business. During that encounter, the suspect appeared a little awkward, but did not appear suspicious, they said, adding that he had spoken of his ambition to work in behavioral criminal justice and become a professor. What I thought of when I read this was before the arrest. So, you know, when you get your car serviced, what they do, they vacuum out your car, right? They clean out the inside, they vacuum it, they service, get oil change, get fluids, all that stuff. Maybe that's the reason why there was no fibers, no DNA, no nothing, because it was vacuumed out when they went and got the car service. Just a thought. Just a thought, nothing else. In a statement released on Sunday, his parents vowed to support their son and brother as the legal process moves forward. First and foremost, we care deeply for our families who have lost, for the four families who have lost their precious children. There are no words that can adequately express the sadness we feel, and we pray each day for them, the family said in a statement. We will continue to let the legal process unfold, and as a family, we will love and support our son and brother. We have fully cooperated with law enforcement agencies in an attempt to seek the truth and promote his presumption of innocence rather than judge unknown facts and make erroneous assumptions. We respect privacy in this matter as our family and the family suffering loss can move forward through the legal process. Interesting stuff. Let me see if I got anything else for you. I've showed something like this before, but I'm going to show it again. And maybe I should have said it at the beginning, but it's a little too late. Trigger warning. Sorry, guys. But I think all of y'all can handle it, right? This was one of those things that showed the 11-12 camera got some of this stuff. Come on, work with me here. Here we go. Y'all ready? Come on, really? They're monitoring my. I don't know what. Well, no, other people have stated that Jeff H had debunked this based on some channel he saw this on. Also looked at the channel and they ran the same thing, but I don't know. Just interesting to think about that, something like that could be put out there. It sounds like there are different clips of that, you know what I mean? Let's see what y'all are saying here. Say, I've seen some pretty bad things in my time. I believe it. Somebody recently was saying that he might use an Amazon gift card that somebody gave him to purchase the knife. That's so cringe. Never heard this. What is it? This was supposed to be what was captured on the 11-12 camera. The house to the west of the residence of 1122 supposedly captured that on the camera. And it's been talked about for a long time. There's been people said that it's not real. There's people that say that it's been patched together, that there's different pieces that could have been heard. I mean, I don't know. I'm no visual expert. So you just never know. You just never know. But really quickly, y'all have any questions on anything that I've presented? Oh, there's the man himself. There's the man himself. I've heard that one, but it's not the one I spoke of, so I don't know if that's different. I wasn't clowning you, Jeff. I just said that you were the one that debunked it, Martha Julio Jimenez. Man, I wish I would have known a long time ago to record my neighbors because I would have got a lot of domestic violence stuff going on because I used to live in the bigger cities and they had that like every weekend. The audio with the recording from Martha's camera on her house to capture a domestic dispute in front of her house, not in Idaho. I'm not calling him honey. Sounded a little too loud and clear. Yeah, that's what people have said. Summon him and he will arrive. Hey, Jeff H. What's up, buddy? I don't know where Rummy is, but okay. So, what do y'all think? Y'all have any questions for me? Y'all have any thoughts? Like I said, my purpose was not to get on here and say that any of this is factual, that any of this has any meaning whatsoever in the crime. I just thought it was interesting to read certain people's perspectives as they type it out. You know what I mean? Like, there's tons of it. There's tons of it where I got all that. I might do a part two because there's a lot. There's a lot of stuff, you know. So, you know, sometimes you just have to break the monotony with all your own speculation and your own diving into it and kind of listen to other people, because if you ever hear stuff in the future that people are saying and it kind of sounds like what I read or a derivative of it, it might tell you, hey, that sounds like what 12 gauge was talking about the other day, but it sounds a little embellished. I'm going to look into the story that I heard a creator speaking on the other night, because I read that story somewhere. I just, for the life of me, can't remember where, because I read it multiple times. I might even have it in my email, because I thought that that was an interesting scenario, and it sounded plausible. You know what I mean? It sounded plausible when I first read it. You know, except for the part of the cartel person, you know, and the beanbag gun and all that. That's where it kind of lost me. And no, I don't delete my stuff. You can watch it on replay. That's cool. I don't delete my stuff. I stand behind my stuff. I didn't present anything that hopefully offended anybody. You know, it was just other people's thoughts. So, um, but seriously, all that stuff that I heard that other creator talking about the other night was during the time the tunnels were really popular. That was during the tunnel scenario thing in Linda Lane, that there was tunnels under Linda Lane apartments, and that's where one of the cartel guys took one of the victims, smashed her up with the beanbag gun, and then took her back to 1122. I remember reading that. It didn't come from an agent. I read it. At least that part, you know? Oh, the rumors seem to be thicker than mud. Anyways, thank you so much for your kind comments. And like I said, when I talk, when I present my stuff, it's not because I'm throwing shade on people. They should never consider it shade if they're being honest about their content. It should never be considered shade. It's only shade if you're being shady about it and you're scared to be, having somebody speak on your stuff, you know? I think a lot of times people forget that there's not everybody is new to this case. There are some of us that have been following it long enough to remember a lot of different things. You know, we remember from the very first time that some of these creators got their channel started, so, you know, not everybody's new to this case. And I've heard a lot of theories throughout the 2 years. Yeah, we can agree to disagree. You're right. Doesn't make either one of us right or wrong, but it does make us respect each other, right? And that's all that matters is we can sit there and have adult conversation, and at the end we can just say, okay. I did that a couple weeks ago, and that reminds me, I need to give some memberships out. Let's see who's going to get one. Let me go to YouTube to do that. Yeah, behind the fridge would have been cheaper. They could have just moved the wall out of the way. Let me shut my camera off while I go to YouTube. How do you like that? Hold on a second. I don't know what's going on with the internet tonight. Like my phone was acting crazy earlier. I couldn't even like make a phone call out. Damn feds. It's like loading up. I'll give you guys some how do people do that? Let me see if I can do it too. Where they share the other screen. Isn't that crazy? You can see that looks too weird. Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you guys dig it? You new subs, can y'all dig it? You old subs, can y'all dig it? If not, get you a bigger shovel, bro. Get you a bigger shovel. Cause the work goes deep in this channel. Man, I was gonna give away memberships. It won't let me. It's like buffering. Oh well, guys, I was gonna give away free membership tonight. Um, but it's buffering. I don't know what the heck is going on. But the internet's been acting crazy. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome right there. Can you dig it, sucker? Can you dig it? Well, anyways, I've kind of reached my limit for the night. Once again, I'm sorry that I showed up a little late. Um, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please hit the like button, subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. I think tomorrow night or tomorrow at 12, I'm going to do the TikTok killers, a different version. That's exactly who that is. Not who I got it from, but you know, that's who I found out said that. Um, Tomorrow I'm gonna continue with the TikTok murder. If you haven't tuned in for that, you might tune in because it's an interesting case. You know, it's an interesting case. So I hope to see y'all here. Once again, thank you for being here. My name is 12 Gauge, and I am your host. Y'all have a lovely evening, and be safe out there. Maestro, cue that music.
When it's time to go, say so, and I'll know. When it's time to go, when it's time to leave, don't grieve for me. When it's time to leave, just wait.
One more thing. Can we all just get along? Good night, y'all.